Welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with some more updates coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got some big news to share with you here today. As you can see on your screen, Ukraine has attacked the Kremniy Microelectronics plant in the Bryansk region just last night. This is video footage coming out from that area, as it looks like this building had a direct hit with a drone. We've got pictures as well to show you that this building definitely was hit by a drone, and Ukraine attacked this manufacturing plant as they build components that are used in military equipment for Russia's army, and including the Panzer air defense systems and Iskander missile complexes. Okay, so they build a lot of small microelectronic components that are used in some of the air defense systems for Russia and their Iskander ballistic missiles as well. So from what I understand, this is the fourth time this plant has come under attack, and we had a direct hit just last night, as you can see here in the video footage. I will pull this up for you on the big screen here in just a little bit, and we'll be talking more about this today. I've also got a few updates coming out in regards to North Korea, and then we also had a huge report today that Romania apparently had their airspace violated once again, okay? 2 times in just the last few days this has happened inside of Romania, and it looks like Ukraine came under a pretty heavy drone attack again last night, and this is why we had yet again another airspace violation with a Russian drone entering the NATO nation of Romania, entering their territory, okay? So this is pretty huge, as just yesterday I reported to you guys that Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, called on Romania to effectively respond to these drone incursions into their airspace. So far, we did not hear of anything of them shooting it down or anything like that, but there definitely was a report of, once again, a Russian drone violating the airspace of the NATO nation of Romania, okay? So we're going to talk about that as well, and then I've got numerous other updates coming out from this war. So let's go ahead and dive right into some of this news. First, we're going to have an article to briefly go over on mainstream news. Then we're going to hop on over to X, and I've got numerous things to share with you there. So let's start out here with Euromaidan Press. Drones target major Russian microelectronics plant, crucial for military equipment. Russian authorities report intercepting 16 Ukrainian drones with the strategically important Kremniy plant in Bryansk allegedly targeted. Okay, so Bryansk is just directly north of Ukraine, close to the Kursk region. And we also had a report as well that drones apparently were targeting even in St. Petersburg, which would be beyond the Bryansk region, further north. So definitely a lot of drones were heading in this direction. This would be like western and northwestern Russia that was attacked, close to the Belarus border. So it says here, the Kremniy plant in Bryansk, Russia, a major producer of microelectronics, came under drone attack overnight on the 19th of October, according to reports from Russian local telegram channels. This marks at least the 4th time drones have targeted the facility. The plant is known for manufacturing components used in military equipment, including the Panzer air defense systems and Iskander missile complexes. According to the Bryansk Oblast governor, a fire broke out as a result of the detonation of an explosive device from a downed drone. Notice how they always say that, a downed drone in the attic of a non-residential building. There were reportedly no casualties. While local authorities have not explicitly confirmed an attack on the Kremniy plant, residents in the area have reported such an incident. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys again some pictures here that show this building apparently did come under attack. I mean, we had the video footage showing something was definitely struck in the background and an explosion had happened. And then also I've got some pictures showing apparently from this building that has been hit. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop on over to X now, and I've got numerous things to share with you here today. Lots of updates coming out from Russia and Ukraine. So let's hop on over here to X now. From Anton Gerashenko, Russian media reports a drone attack on Kremniy plant in Bryansk region of Russia. Kremniy is one of the largest microelectronics enterprises in Russia that produces semiconductor devices, integrated circuits, and power modules. It completes a large number of orders from the Russian Defense Ministry. So we've got a picture here to take a look at, so let's go ahead and jump into this. I believe this is from the same video that we just saw, but somebody was able to kind of snapshot the moment that the building took a direct hit, apparently. So definitely something was struck over here in the Bryansk region, according to this. Now we're going to hop on over to the video, full screen. You guys can go ahead and take a look at that.
Блядь. Блядь. Блядь.
Okay, my apologies, guys. I accidentally clipped off the video. That's why it closed. But yeah, we could definitely see that something was directly hit here just in the background. It's really hard to tell if it was a building or something. It looks like there's a building just right there, but something was definitely struck over here in the distance. We can see a major explosion from one of these drones that struck apparently this manufacturing plant. Okay, so moving on now to our next update. From Nexta, Kremniy plant in Bryansk was attacked by Ukraine. It produces microelectronics for missile systems. The plant reportedly produces microelectronics for Panzer air defense systems, Iskander missiles, radar and electronic warfare systems, and Russian UAVs. Okay, so lots of small microelectronic equipment that's used inside a lot of missile systems, radars, electronic warfare systems. Lots of equipment that Russia uses for their war is produced at this facility. So I'm not sure if this is the building right here because it kind of looks like it, but we could definitely see a major fire that has broken out after the building somewhere over here was hit. So when we go to this next photo, see, it looks like that same building. I can't 100% tell if this is it. This looks more like an apartment building or something, so it might be a building on the other side of that one. But when we look at here, this is a before and after photo. So this is what the building originally looked like. And then if we look over here, we can definitely see that the building took a direct hit. Now, from what I understand, this is the facility that was struck, according to Nexta here. As we can see, a direct hit from this drone. Okay, so pretty massive attack from that drone. Look at how much damage it did to that building. And definitely looks like a fire had broken out inside of here as well. Looks pretty charred and black in there, okay? So moving on to our next update now. We're going to be talking about St. Petersburg in this post from Anton Gerashenko. Russian Telegram channels report that hundreds of buildings are without electricity in Russian St. Petersburg. Local authorities claim it was an accident. Locals say the accident was preceded by explosions from a drone attack. Okay, so looks like we had some sort of drone attack targeting potentially maybe some electrical equipment inside of St. Petersburg. Maybe there was some sort of electrical substation that may have been hit or something like that, is what I'm thinking, that maybe caused the electricity to go out for many of the residents inside of St. Petersburg. So go ahead and take a look at this. It definitely sounds like there is some sort of drone attack taking place, as we can hear an explosion in the background. So it's just 11 seconds long. Take a look. Okay, so if you heard towards the end there, it sounded like there was kind of like two explosions that most likely were caused by drones. Considering that St. Petersburg would just be north of the Bryansk region, most likely some of these drones that probably passed over the Bryansk region were maybe heading for St. Petersburg up here. This is getting very close to like Finland up here too. Yeah, it looks like we had something that was struck. We can't tell obviously from this video what exactly was struck, but definitely sounds like some sort of explosions in the background, and many locals were claiming that these were drone attacks in the area, okay? So pretty crazy. Looks like a pretty heavy drone attack inside of Russia last night. Now moving on to military news UA. The U.S. is very concerned about reports that North Korean soldiers are fighting on the side of Russia. This was announced by Sean Savitt, the spokesman for the National Security Council of the United States. We cannot confirm whether these reports are accurate, but if they are true, it would mean a dangerous development in Russia's war against Ukraine, Savitt said. Okay, so we're definitely hearing lots of reports coming out that the North Koreans are more heavily involved in the war against Ukraine, fighting on behalf of Russia. We just reported to you guys, I think yesterday, that North Korean troops have been spotted training at many facilities, primarily on the eastern side of Russia, closer to North Korea. And many of them are apparently getting prepared to be sent to the front lines. Upwards of 12,000 troops have been reported, and we heard as many as 1,500 special forces that came from North Korea currently training in Russia. Okay, so very big news if they happen to end up on the front line. Vicegrad24 reports breaking: France's new foreign minister, Jean-Noel Barrot, I don't know if it's Barrot or Barrot, warns that North Korean soldiers arriving to fight in Ukraine is a major escalation. It will bring the war to a new level and a new scale of escalation at risk the war spilling over into Asia. So yeah, definitely. I mean, look at what's happening on the Korean Peninsula right now. I actually have an update for you in just a moment regarding the Korean Peninsula, as we already know that tensions are very high with North and South Korea right now, and it could definitely spark a war over here inside of Asia. Then we already have lots of escalation with China recently surrounding Taiwan. We know they're going to go after Taiwan at some point. So hopefully this war does not spread to Asia even. All of a sudden we have a war between, Taiwan or China, or maybe even South Korea and North Korea. Okay, so that's what he's warning about. Then we also had this report coming out from North Korea, Max 24. An alleged spy drone from South Korea was found in the capital of North Korea, Pyongyang. Now they're threatening war if the incident happens again. Okay, so it looks like we had some pictures coming out from North Korea saying they found one of these spy drones that was reported just in the last week. We had North Korea accusing South Korea of flying spy drones over the capital of Pyongyang in North Korea and dropping apparently leaflets criticizing Kim Jong-un's regime. So it looks like the North Koreans are claiming that they found one of these drones that may have been used. Here's another photo of it. And they're also threatening war with South Korea if this happens again. Okay, so definitely major tensions building up on the Korean Peninsula. And also, we had some reports coming out today. I'm not sure if I have it pulled up here for you guys, but apparently North Korea was dropping trash balloons onto South Korea once again, flying them over there. This is probably, 5 or 10 times already that North Korea has done this. That's why we've also had provocative actions coming from the South, even pulling out of military agreements with North Korea, and then we've had more troops showing up to the border, South Korean troops showing up to the border with North Korea. Then we even had North Korea blowing up some of the roads recently that connect over to South Korea. So just major tensions building up over on the Korean Peninsula right now. So now moving on, we're going to talk about China in this update here. Vicegrad 24 breaking. China starts sending advanced weapon systems to Russia for use in Ukraine. The U.S. has just announced it's sanctioning Chinese entities involved in the development and production of Russia's Garpia series long-range suicide drones. These are the first U.S. sanctions imposed on Chinese entities directly developing and producing complete weapon systems in partnership with Russian firms. Okay, so this is huge news. We've definitely been hearing more about China being involved, and we've been waiting to see if the West was going to start putting more sanctions on China. So it looks like the U.S. has just announced some sanctions on Chinese entities that are involved in the development of Russia's Garpia series long-range suicide drones. I'm not sure if this is a picture of one of those. Kind of looks like the Iranian-made drones. It looks like we're starting to see sanctions being put on China now, as China's been obviously been trying to play the role of more of a mediator and try to pretend as they're not involved in the war, but the West has come out many times accusing China, saying they are involved, that they're secretly sending equipment over to Russia. Russia uses a lot of this equipment to build a lot of the weapons inside of their nation that end up flying into Ukraine, like some of these drones here. So pretty big development coming out in regards to China. Okay, so also from next Le Monde reports, U.S. no longer opposes Ukraine's invitation to join NATO. This became known after the talks between Joe Biden, Emmanuel Macron, Olaf Scholz, and Keir Starmer in Berlin on October 18th. Okay, so just yesterday, the source also noted that the change in Washington's position might influence the decision of Berlin, which is still against inviting Kyiv to the alliance. Okay, so it looks like we could be getting one step closer to Ukraine potentially joining NATO, as it looks like the U.S. no longer opposes the invitation for Ukraine to join NATO. So this is just going to take, a few other members of NATO to get on board, and we could be seeing an invitation going to Ukraine here very soon. So pretty big news in regards to that. Also from Bliskovka, the first Mirage 2000 aircraft will be delivered to Ukraine in early 2025. This was stated by the French Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot at a press conference with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, Andriy Sybiha. Okay, so here's a picture of that Mirage 2000. We've talked about these quite a bit. I've given you multiple updates on this. I think Ukraine is going to be receiving multiples of these by next year. And France announced months back that they were going to be delivering several of these to Ukraine. So it looks like Ukraine is going to be getting more fighter jets very soon. And these Mirage 2000s are pretty sophisticated jets. So this is some big news coming out that it looks like the first Mirage 2000 jets will be delivered to Ukraine early next year. Okay, also want you to take a look at this as we talk a lot about these drone attacks that go into Ukraine. As just last night, obviously Ukraine was attacked again by drones. I reported that we had some Russian drones entering Romania's airspace once again. So this is a video from Nexta, and it says this is what the Iranian Shahed drone used by Russia looks like compared to a house. So I want you guys to look at this, as yesterday I let you guys know that 135 Russian drones, these were Iranian-made Shahed drones, okay, that attack Ukraine very frequently. This is just one of them, and 135 just last night, or the night before, excuse me, attacked into Ukraine, as we reported that Romania's airspace was also violated the night before. So take a look at this huge Iranian Shahed drone.
Давид сбил. Спасибо, Давиду.
I mean, look at that, guys. Absolutely humongous. This is how dangerous these drones are, okay? And again, these things are flying into Ukraine every single day. I don't think most people understand. Whenever they say there's drone attacks happening in Ukraine, these are the drones that are flying into. They're literally the size of a house. Imagine a house flying towards you, okay? It's literally the size of a house. Isn't that insane? So pretty crazy. I just wanted to show you guys that in case you weren't really familiar how big these Iranian Shahed drones are. They are absolutely massive, okay? So now I've got a video here from War Translator Dmitry. 155th Marine Brigade, acting in the Kursk region, recruits convicts from maximum security prisons. So it looks like we had a few Russian soldiers that were in the 155th Marines for Ukraine, or excuse me, for Russia, fighting in the Kursk region, and Ukraine had captured a few of them, and they were kind of interviewing them and asking them where they came from, and apparently these were convicts from Russian prisons. So it's a minute long. Take a look.
Имя, отчество.
Балашов Эдуард Эдуардович, 14.03.1999 года рождения.
Откуда ты?
Я вэшник, призван с колонии строгого режима города, там 54.
Кто-то стреляет.
Ого, нихуя себе сдавать-то хочешь.
Тебя заставили?
С тюрьмы, всех с тюрьмы.
С тюрьмы, да? За что сидел?
Кража.
Кража? Ебать.
158-я, 3-й, домушник. А мы по делу.
Ты откуда? Фамилия, имя, отчество.
Никитин Андрей Сергеевич, 07.99 года.
Какая бригада?
155-я.
Вдвоем вы, да?
Да. Ну, с тюрьмы.
Яка ваша задача была? Наша задача
Здесь сидеть и ждать.
ждать Ахмат. Тут закрепиться.
Сидите мирно, сидеть мирно
Сидеть
здесь.
тихо, мирно. Если будут какие действия, сообщить по радио.
Имя, отчество.
All right, so here's your proof that Russia is recruiting troops from their prisons and deploying them onto the battlefield, especially in the Kursk region. Looks like many of them are fighting in the 155th Marines for Russia, as just two of them right here that were captured directly said they came from some of the prisons in Russia. And if you notice there, at one point he asked him right here, were you forced? And he says, yes. Okay, he nods his head. Yes, he was forced to fight. Okay, so pretty crazy. That just shows how desperate Russia is to recruit whoever they possibly can, even pulling convicts out of prison to throw them on the front line over here and to fight in the Kursk region, okay? So definitely the Russians have their hands full over here in the Kursk region, as Ukraine is still holding on to that territory, okay, as they launched their offensive just about a month or so ago, okay? So moving on to our next update, we have this update from Bliskovka. Since the spring, mobilization rates have increased 2.5 times, and 12% of men are joining the army voluntarily. This was stated by Defense Minister Rustem Umerov in a commentary to Fox News. Umerov believes that the good rates of mobilization indicate the readiness of Ukrainians to defend their country with arms in hand. Okay, so the Defense Minister of Ukraine, Rustem Umerov, coming out and saying that their mobilization rates have increased 2.5 times, okay? So it looks like a good majority of the country is willing to fight and defend, and it looks like they're in a good position in terms of mobilization. So we haven't really been hearing of them being short on troops or anything like that. The only thing that we've really heard in terms of weakness with Ukraine is mainly on the Eastern Front. They do make some gains here and there, but then at times we hear that they have to pull back from certain areas, like when they lost Volodar recently. And then also up in the Kupiansk region, we're hearing that some of the residents have been evacuated from that town as Kupiansk is getting close to falling to Russia as well. But I do have an update coming out from there also. Okay, so moving on. Kiev Independent. Romania says drone breached its airspace during Russia's attack on Ukraine. It's the second time this week that Romanian airspace has been violated. Okay, so this is that report coming out today. Okay, so just last night, once again, Russian drones violating Romania's airspace. And again, this is a NATO nation. Okay, and this is exactly why yesterday we had Mark Rutte calling on Romania to step up and respond effectively. Now, what does that exactly mean? Does that mean start shooting down these drones or whatnot? We don't have any reports that Romania actually did shoot down any drones that came into their territory, but we did have yet again another report of a drone violating Romania's airspace. Okay, so pretty crazy what's happening over here. It's happening very frequently right now. Moving on to another update. This actually came out yesterday from Bliskovka. A Russian major was liquidated in the center of Luhansk. The MDI reports a UAZ Patriot car exploded in the city yesterday. Inside the car was an officer of the Russian Army of Occupation, Major Dmitro Pervuka. Okay, so this is in the Luhansk region of Ukraine, which is currently occupied by Russia. Looks like we had some sort of Russian army major that was potentially driving in this vehicle and it had exploded. I'm not sure if this was some sort of sabotage. It looks like it's potential that maybe it was, but apparently this man did not survive the explosion and he was eliminated. Okay, so I wanted to share this with you as pretty crazy to hear about that. Okay, this is inside the Luhansk region of occupied Ukraine. Okay, so moving on to another update now, Ukrainian Review. Canada plans to provide Ukraine with a military aid package worth 64.8 million Canadian dollars. Military aid package will include small arms, ammunition, and protective equipment. Okay, so some of you might think, well, 64.8 million is really not a lot. And in terms of dollar value, no, it's not a huge package, but it does look like they're going to be sending them some small arms and ammunition, some protective equipment. So good on Canada to be providing Ukraine at least with something in the meantime. We have definitely been seeing lots of military aid packages going to Ukraine over the past few weeks, and it looks like that is continuing. The only difference I'm seeing is these aid packages appear to be a little bit smaller sometimes, but recently we did hear about that $8 billion that was supposedly coming from the United States. Okay, so now here's that update coming out from the Kupiansk, or the city of Kupiansk. Okay, so Euromaidan Press reports Ukrainian special forces liberated the village of, I'm going to have trouble pronouncing this one, but I think it's Krylyakivka in Kharkiv Oblast. This victory strengthens Ukraine's defense of Kupiansk, a critical area under constant shelling. Okay, so again, Kupiansk up in, I think this is in the Kharkiv region, northeastern Ukraine. And Kupiansk, we reported to you guys just a few days ago that they were evacuating the town as the Russians were getting very close to that area. And it was under constant shelling, being hit a lot. So they started to evacuate many of the people. I think there was only a few thousand left there, and there was originally around 26,000, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely over 20,000 people that lived in that good-sized town or city. And looks like the Ukrainian forces were able to liberate a village nearby there and to prevent the Russians from getting closer to Kupiansk. Okay, so big news coming from Ukraine. Finally, I've got this last update here. From Reuters, we had a major prisoner exchange today. It says Russia, Ukraine each bring home 95 prisoners of war in swap brokered by the UAE. Here's a picture of one of those Ukrainian soldiers coming home as he was held captive by the Russians. So good news to hear from that. It says here Russia and Ukraine carried out a new exchange of prisoners of war on Friday, each side bringing home 95 prisoners in an agreement in which the United Arab Emirates acted as a mediator. Okay, so 95 for 95 is what this looks like. A prisoner swap between Russia and Ukraine once again. And we were hearing this just a few days ago that there was going to be another prisoner swap. And obviously the Ukrainians have been capturing lots of Russian troops up in the Kursk region. And we've been hearing a lot from Volodymyr Zelensky that their prisoner exchange numbers were starting to move up. They were starting to capture plenty of Russian troops. to be able to exchange for their own troops. And this is exactly why we saw another prisoner exchange. So good news for Ukraine, as well as they're able to get back some of their troops that were held captive by Russia for months now, maybe even years. Okay, so some big news coming out from Ukraine and Russia today that I wanted to update you on. But that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.